Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm going to do a tutorial based on this blue liner and black smoky eye with a dark vampy lip. So to start off, always use a eyeshadow primer. This is going to make your eyeshadow last longer. I'm going to use the Melt Stack today, the Dark Matter Melt Stack, and I'm going to start with this color right here. It's just a bare color, but let me have a sip of beer, only for 21 and older, of course. And I'm going to set that primer in place. Next, we're going to go ahead and pick up the color Unseen from the Melt Dark Matter stack from Melt Cosmetics as well, and I'm going to buff that into my crease very heavily because I really want a transition shade to peek through, and this is going to initiate all my colors to transition into one another. So to make that black smoky eye last longer throughout the day, I'm going to use a base. This is the LA Girl LA Glide gel eyeliner, and it's a black color. It has a little bit of specks of glitter in it. This is gonna go ahead and adhere to the black shadow that we're gonna place on top, which is called Dark Matter from that stack as well. And I'm using it with a Wet n Wild brush, and I'm tapping that onto the entire lid, not passing the crease. So with a smaller defined brush, I'm going to go ahead and pick up Enigma. This is a burnt burgundy brick red color, and I'm going to place that right into my crease, blowing that out so we can have a more red tone in there. And I'm going to list all the brushes that I used down in the description box, so you can go ahead and check that out if you want. And I'm going ahead and using the first brush we use, which is Morphe E27, and buffing all those shades together. For the brow bone highlight shade, I am using the color Blur. And I'm also going to go ahead and use Unseen once again on the crease, just to make sure everything is nice and blended. And then I'm going to go ahead and use a clean brush with nothing on it. And next I'm going to use, again, Dark Matter, just to place a little bit more black because I lost some of it. Now to move on to the liner. This is the NYX Extreme Blue Eyeliner. And this isn't a matte finish, this is a satin, I guess, shiny finish, if you will. And I'm going to go ahead and do a extreme wing, very, very big, so that way it could be accentuated. Now we're going to drag that into the inner tear duct area to make an appearance of a long eye, cat eye effect. You don't have to do this step, only if you want to, it's not necessary. I'll move on to the face using my Holy Grail primer, the Kiko Milano Matte Fluid. And as I let that primer set in place, I'm going to move on to my brows. These are the products that I use and I have been really liking a lot recently. Anastasia Clear Brow Gel, L'Oreal Brow Stylist, and the Definer. And I like to brush out my eyebrow hairs first, and I like to shape my brows with the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer. I then like to move on to filling it in with the brow definer from Anastasia, and I use the shade Dark Brown for this color. I just fill it in and then I brush it out just to blend everything in together, and I set that all in place with the Anastasia Brow Gel, and it's in the shade Espresso. now that my primer is set in place, I'm going to use these two foundations today, mixing them, the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless, as well as the Makeupforever HD Foundation. And I'm using an e.l.f. blending brush, I think this is what it's called. It's kind of like that flat top kabuki. And I'm just blending that all on my skin, down my neck, and on my forehead area. To conceal my under eyes and give a little bit of highlight on my under eyes, I'm using the LA Girl Pro Conceal in the shade Pure Beige. And then I am going to blend all of that out with a Sigma pointed brush. I'll list again the brushes down below and everything that I use in this tutorial down in the description box. And after this step, I like to immediately set my concealers just so it won't crease. So I'm using the RCMA No Color Powder with the e.l.f. tapered brush. And I also set my smile lines too, because you know I have smile lines and I don't want them to be accentuated, so I always set them with a powder. And I forgot to include a clip of my powder, but I always use my Makeupforever setting powder, nothing fancy, usual. Moving on to contouring / bronzing, I'm going to use my NYX contour palette and use that first shade to bronze up my skin. And then I'm going to move on to the darkest shade in the palette, using very little product just to define a little contour, just a little bit, nothing too harsh, just a little bit. And I have something on my nose apparently. To move on to the highlight of the cheekbones, I'm using that same highlight in that palette. It's a very nice icy, if you will. It reminds me of the Balm Cosmetics Mary Luminizer highlighter in this palette. I'm just going to go ahead and highlight my cheekbones away. And I'm going to move on to blush. I'm using MAC Melba. This is a matte finish. I didn't want nothing too dark and heavy, so I went with something very matte. And I'm going to go back and do my lower lash line using the shade Unseen as well. And I'm going to fill in my waterline using the LA Girl in the shade Royal Blue. And with that same liner that we used earlier, I'm just doing a very thin line on my lower lash line. This isn't necessary, but this is what I did in my picture, just very thin, and then I like to smoke it out just a little bit. Next, we use the NYX Felt Tip Liner in white, and this is kind of like an accent wing, just following that wing that we had on the lower end of the tail, I guess. And I'm just following that, making sure that it's very white and going over it a few times. I'm going to apply some mascara to prepare for false lashes. While that dries, I'm going to use the MAC Lip Liner in the shade Nightmoth. And then I'm going to go over it with this NYX Simply Vamp Lip Cream in the shade Aphrodisiac, which is really nice, and these two pair well together. This reminds me of that combo of Diva and Nightmoth, just that NYX is way cheaper than MAC. So next I'm going to apply my false lashes. These are Social Eyes in the style Vixen. And that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this. Hopefully this gives you some inspiration to use blue liner. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Toodles!